It's showtime. What's up, good people? And welcome to the Frank Harris Show, the biggest, the best, the baddest show in the world. And look who's back. My boy, my brother, Dominican E. Yo, E, what's good, E?
Here, man, I'm here, man. A lot of stuff going on. A lot of stuff going on in the sports
Yes.
world. Let's get it.
So, let's talk about some contemporary basketball stuff, obviously. Then let's get into AAU parents. Very controversial thing to talk about, E. And then we're going to get into the nepotism with Deion and his son, Shaduer, and LeBron and his son, Bronny, LeBron Jr. All right, E. Well, let's kick it off. Contemporary, out the gate, NBA basketball playoffs. Boy, oh boy, Knicks, Indiana, reminiscent of the old days. Remember, E? But Jokic won MVP
Yes.
yesterday, which for me, E, I don't understand, again, why do they have the MVP voting? Not the voting, but the results revealed now. Because all it does is create more controversy. So Jokic won, which he probably deserved to win, but because he's not playing well and his team is not playing well, now everybody feels like Shea should have won it. They should announce the award at the end of the season. It's no way they should wait, Eric, until you get 2 rounds into the playoffs to announce the award because people's minds get jaded, right? And some people feel like now Jokic didn't deserve it because his Denver Nuggets are not playing as well in the playoffs as everybody anticipated. So, E, quick question. Do you think they should do the awards at the very end of the season before the playoffs?
Yes, they should do the MVP at the very end of the season. I don't think it should carry on into the second round of the playoffs. I should right at the end of the season have your MVP at the end of the season because it's based on the season. It's not based on your, what you do after the playoffs. So I think we should do it right at the end of the season. Give the MVP right at the end.
Yeah, because I mean, it just creates too much controversy any other way. So, anyway, quick question. That was a quick one. Fans, comment, let me know your thoughts about that. Now, E, let's talk about this. The New York Knicks, you're in New York right now. You're New York Knicks. I know you're not a huge Knicks fan, but you're New York home team playing great in the playoffs, right, E? But here we go again. Let's talk about this controversial topic, Eric. Tom Thibodeau, notorious coach, great coach as an assistant for years. Jeff Van Gundy, under the Riley coaching tree, head coach with the Chicago Bulls. Jimmy Butler's first coach, I believe it was, head coach with the Minnesota Timberwolves. Tibbs, the Knicks head coach now, doing a good job, Eric, but he's known for being very tough on his guys. Playing his starting five guys too much, Eric, right? Long practices, practicing too hard, pushing guys to play too hard, which ultimately leads to injuries, right? Continually in his coaching career, his players get worn out because he plays them for too long, and guys often get injured. And now the injury bug is creeping in again with the Knicks. E, tell me, what are your thoughts? Do you think Thibodeau, again, is running the Knicks players into the ground?
Yes, I mean playing those guys. Jason Hart played the entire game. I mean, you run those guys to the ground. You got to give them some minutes, where they can find some rest. I mean, playing those guys 48 minutes, 43 minutes, overtime games. Like, I mean, it's too much on the body. It's too much on the body, and history have shown, right? I mean, when he was in Chicago, when he had Derrick Rose and those guys, Derrick Rose was known to be injury prone because of the wear and tear on the body. Jokic, Noah, you know what I'm saying? Back problem because of the wear and tear. So I think,
Who had a back problem? Who?
um, Joakim Noah.
Oh, Joakim Noah, yeah, yeah. And
Joakim Noah
and
had
Jimmy
back
Butler
problem.
got hurt in Chicago as well.
Yeah, so all that the wear and tear, and then them long hours. I get it. I understand it. That's the Pat Riley way. Them long hours of practicing. I mean, the NBA is not that. The NBA is you get in, get your little workout in, rest your body, and get ready for the game. That wear and
So,
tear
E,
is taking its toll on players.
so two things. One, I think Josh Hart played 5 straight games so far in the playoffs at 48 minutes. I believe it's 5 straight games, as well as he's playing 5 straight games. And I'm just going to run this off real quick, E, because I have it in front of me. All right, injured Knicks. OG Anunoby, left hamstring injury. Jalen Brunson, right foot injury. Julius Randle, right shoulder surgery, out for the playoffs.
Yeah.
Bogdanovic, left foot surgery, out for the season. Mitchell Robinson, his ankle injury, you can argue he got pulled down by Joel Embiid, right? So maybe you argue he got pulled down by Joel Embiid. But Eric, that's a lot of guys, and those are a lot of starters in that mix, or guys that play significant minutes that are getting hurt, okay? And I really think Thibodeau, great guy. His teams outperform people, especially during the regular season, because they play real hard all year long. He really instills, that kind of mentality in his team. But I think, again, the Knicks players are run down and hurt because he overplays his starters and he plays guys too much. He plays guys too much, Eric, and I think this is the primary reason why so many Knicks players are hurt, one. And then secondly, this is why you can't win a championship with Thibodeau. You can't. Because when you get to this part of the season, Eric, the team is worn down.
Yes, that's a fact, Frank. That is a fact. I mean, they're playing great. They're young guys playing great. Madison Square Garden is electrifying. But I mean, these guys need their rest. And now in the playoff, as we can see, right, it's one night off. It's not like you get two.
Yes.
Two, it's
yes.
one night off. So, these guys need their rest. Playing 48 minutes, like you said, Josh Hart. That's 48 minutes for 5 straight games. That's unheard of.
Yeah.
I mean, I know they're young, but Thibodeau, come on, Thibodeau.
And listen, and in the playoffs, you need a bench, right? And you look at teams that win championships, they're balanced teams. They got guys that come off the bench and they give you significant contributions. I mean, you need a strong bench. I mean, you look at Minnesota, who's playing well right now. They got guys like Naz Reid coming off their bench playing big minutes. I mean, you need guys that come off your bench and play. Alexander's another guy that comes off the bench, Kyle Anderson. So anyway, Thibodeau, great coach, great guy to get your culture and your program good, but not the guy that can take you all the way to the top. So last question on that, E. Do the Knicks have a chance to win? I believe they'll beat Indiana. Is there any way they can beat the Celtics in the conference finals?
Whoa. Man, that's going to be a tough one. But, can't that's a tough one. Can they win? Yeah, they have a chance. They have a
Hell no, they can't win, E. Come on, E.
They got to fight his chance, Frank. They got to fight his chance. Things happen in the
fight his chance.
Frank, guys could get hurt. Guys could get hurt.
Right. The only way, and even when Porzingis hurts, the Knicks can't win that series. The Celtics are too good and too deep. No way.
Yes.
Because Matt Holiday. No,
what I'm saying,
you
Frank,
tripping.
What I'm saying, Frank. If key guys get hurt, right? You never know, right? A Brown gets hurt, got to miss 2-3 games. That gives.
Are we assuming, Eric, when you ask the question that everybody's going to be relatively healthy, right? Obviously, if Tatum is hurt, it's a different series, right? If Jalen Brunson gets hurt, it's a different series. But so when you make that question, when you ask the question, obviously we're assuming guys will be healthy, right?
Okay. All right. So
that's the assumption.
All right. So I mean, I'm still giving them a fighter's chance, but it's very low, but
very slim. 1%. 1%. All right, E. So listen, a little basketball talk, a little Knicks talk. Oh, E, before we go away, quick question about the playoffs. Eric, are the Minnesota Timberwolves right now, all right, the favorite to win it all with the way they're playing?
Oh, yes. Great question, Frank. Frank, you on your game today, Frank. Great question. I think Minnesota, the way that team is put together, I mean, they got a great chance, man. They got young superstar talent.
So are they your favorite, E? Are they your favorite?
Yeah, I'm going with Minnesota. And plus, Alex Rodriguez is, majority owner of the Minnesota Timberwolves. My Dominican.
No, he's not.
So I'm going.
No, he's not. He's not an owner. Remember, no. They blocked the ownership. The guy decided not to sell a team. They're in arbitration right now. So he was supposed to be the owner, but then they didn't come up with the money on time. Glenn Taylor, I believe the owner's name is, owns the team. He decided not to sell anymore. So now Alex Rodriguez and his guy, Lore, are now suing to own the team. And right now, I believe it's in arbitration. So right now, Taylor still owns the team. Now let's see what happens in arbitration. So your Dominican brother, Alex Rodriguez, doesn't own the team yet. Just as an FYI.
That's bad information.
All right.
My bad.
Okay, so now let's switch gears, Eric. I know you are very actively involved in youth sports. I know you coach a very good 16 and under basketball team in your spare time, and you have an opportunity. Not opportunity. I guess opportunity, but I know you have to deal quite often with the whole AAU dynamic with parents. Okay, and we are increasingly seeing images of parents and fighting kids and fighting referees. We have one extreme example where Talib, what's his last name, Eric, the cornerback from the NFL. Talib is his last name. I believe his name is Talib. But anyway, his brother in Kansas was they were coaching a little league football team. And he was a knucklehead in the NFL as well, right? Played at Kansas as a cornerback. But his brother shot and killed a coach from the other team, if I'm not mistaken. And an example of coach and AAU or parent rage. So tell me what your experience is and what do you feel about what's going on in the AAU realm as it relates to parents specifically?
I mean, it's a sad situation where parents, are living through their kids. Number one, wanting to, be a part of the kids' development and having input instead of letting the coach just coach your son and let him develop. I mean, a lot of these parents, it's getting out of hand where they're, like you said, cursing at referees and cursing out other coaches, and we have rumblings in the middle of games. I mean, it's getting out of hand. I think the parents should take a step back. I do like parents' involvement when it comes to their kids, but when it comes to coaching and games, take a step back, let these kids continue to develop. Because also what that does is you're putting a lot of pressure on these kids to perform, a pressure that these kids don't need, right? They're 14, 15, 16 years old. You're putting so much pressure on them. Parents are yelling and screaming at their kids. Kids are going into a shell because of the pressure the parents are putting on them. I think parent involvement is good, but it has to be limited, and it has to be, to the point where parents just take a step back and let the coaches and the mentors let them help, develop their kids in the sports that they're in. But I mean, it's getting out of hand. I mean, you hear it all the time. It's a sad situation.
This is a complicated conversation, and I want to ask a few questions and talk a little bit about it. So one, Eric, is it out of control now, or has it always been out of control and we just see it more now because of social media, right? And so before, social media didn't exist, but I don't believe that there's anything that's changed. I believe parents have always been overly influential as it relates to players. I do believe, I mean, we don't want to be extreme, but Todd Marinovich, his dad, is a notorious guy, right? Who, was crazy on his son. Well, we can go, story after story after story of parents who are overly dogmatic and overly exerted their pressure on their children. So I just feel like we just see it more. I mean, watching AAU basketball for years and years, we've seen parents fight, parents yelling at kids, kids crying on the court. Like all this stuff has existed, Eric. So I don't know that it's changed. I just feel like it's more amplified because we can see it because of social media. Would you agree or disagree on
that? Obviously, yes. Social media has had an impact on what's put out there. Obviously, that has a huge impact on it. But I don't think, like, I remember us growing up, right? Our parents didn't really. They just put us in sports, and they didn't really care who. They just felt like it takes a village to raise a kid and help the kid develop. It wasn't so much as far as these parents nowadays, where they're actually involved in the kids' development and screaming and yelling. Like, for example, we play sports, and our parents always told us, Whatever your coach says, that's what you do. There wasn't no involvement, parent and coach. It was the parent, the coach, and the parent. If the coach says something, the parent agreed on those lines, right?
Okay.
And nowadays it's totally opposite.
I think that's kind of right. I do believe that coaches had a bit more um, of a say so, right? And parents did defer more to coaches. I would agree with that in the past. That's what I would agree with. But then, Eric, so two things: the advent of Nike, EYBL, endorsement deal, the amount of money that people were able to make. Also, when we were younger, okay, Eric, the Michael Jordans of the world and those guys were just starting. Okay, so the contracts weren't as big, the sneaker deals weren't as big. You didn't have the Nike circuit, the Adidas circuit, the this circuit, the 7-on-7 football circuit. The tennis kid is making so much money. Soccer got $36 million a year one year, $32 million it was. So I do also believe that the money in sports has significantly amplified. So because the money is amplified, you wonder, has that, incentivized in a sense parents to be crazy? Because Eric, in any environment where the money's big, whether you're on the stock market where there's big money to be made in finance, or wherever there's money to be made, it's craziness that goes along with it. No matter what the world is, whether it's finance, whether it's sports, or whatever it is, whether it's film and TV, crazy parents, right? In film and TV, we hear all the crazy stories about moms and dads who are TV parents who go crazy. And so you wonder how much of it, well, I think all of it, a lot of it is attributed to the amount of money now involved with sports and basketball, right? With LeBron James and Michael Jordan and these guys have become brands and billionaires in a sense, right? Michael Jordan is a billionaire and LeBron James has the potential to be so. And so I really feel like that's significantly impacted. But let me ask you this question, right? Because then this is this balance conversation. Because I know you are an advocate of parents being involved, right? And parents
Yeah.
pushing their kids. You advocate parents pushing their kids too, Eric. So
Yes.
as an advocate of that, right? Pushing your kids sometimes up to the up to that place that may be the gray area, and then pulling back. What's the gray area, Eric? Like, what's pushing too far? Because I know you support parents pushing their kids.
But this is my thing. As a parent, Frank, as a parent, if your child wants to get involved in sports, and we're both
Uh
sports
huh.
guys, right? So we
Mm-hmm.
encourage our kids to play sports. My thing is, right? You're gonna play sports. You're gonna try it. There's no quitting. You're gonna try something. There's no quitting. Now it gets to a point where now, because of the nature of sports in today, youth sports today, if you're not good enough, time will tell, and then you can do something else. But if you start something, you got to finish it. That's
But
my
what does
thing.
that mean, though? People say that start. So when you say you start something, okay, hold on, because to me that's this comment that people quite often make that doesn't have any, to me, finality to it, right? Like it has to be finite at some point. You can't quit what? So that means if you join the basketball team, you have to play through the season. Doesn't mean you have to play through what part? Like when you say you can't quit, what does that mean? So your kid joins the AAU basketball team, all right? 3 or 4 months in, your child decides that they no longer want to play. All right. What's finishing the season? What's finishing for you, or
Okay,
not quitting?
okay. Let's say a season, or maybe two
Okay.
seasons, maybe 2 seasons in to see whether or not the kid continues to develop, but not just I want to quit because no, I want to quit because these kids are a little better than me, or no. You have to finish it through, go through the whole season.
But hold on. We say finish it through, right? To me, you've been a little bit too random. 1 season, 2 seasons, 1 year, 6 months. Like the problem with that statement to me, is it's not specific enough. Finish it through. I don't know what that means. Now, I know what this means. If your child joins like a park league or intramural league, and it's like an 8-game season in the playoffs, and then the season's over, that's finite, right? Okay, you joined a basketball team. You play through your 8 games. You play your playoffs. Somebody wins and loses. Season is over. That's finite. Okay, but when you join the AAU team, Eric, it's ongoing. AAU season is ongoing, right? So as an AAU parent, we talking about AAU sports too, is a significant part of what we're talking about. As an AAU parent, okay, what's enough for you where your child has done enough?
I mean, if
Right. I mean, that's important. What's the finite part where your child can say, I don't want to do it anymore?
Yeah, that's tough. I mean, coming like I said, I'm a sports guy. That's a tough question because it's for me. It's like I want to see you. I want to see you go through some adversity and finish it. Like I keep saying, finish it through. I mean, just finish the process. Finish the process. If you're playing recreational basketball, that's cool. But if you're playing on a high school team and you're on a high school team and you're not playing right now, and then at the end of the season you want to quit. No, let's give it to the end. Let's give it to the end of your senior year, and let's see what happens. You know, freshman year you wasn't
Okay.
playing, so sophomore you wasn't playing. But if you're playing recreational, that's different. But if you're playing varsity sports in high school level, and you as a freshman you're not playing, and then you want to quit. No, let's finish it through. Let's finish the 4 years and see what happens. That's my definition.
Right
4 years.
now, you sound like an AAU parent. You sound like a crazy AAU parent. All right. So your kid is a freshman in high school. Okay.
Yes.
They joined the basketball team. What if they don't want to play anymore?
No.
You can't make them play for 3 more years. What does that
If
mean?
you're on a varsity team as a freshman and things are not going your way, you're gonna have to finish it through the 4 years.
So what are you in? So if you in a JV is different?
Yeah, JV is different, Frank. JV is different.
Oh, come on. You too random. Yeah, I can't mess with you, bro. You tripping, dog.
Right? If
So,
you're a
Eric,
varsity player, you got time. You got time.
yeah, but this is the problem. So as you know, I'm a parent and I have kids,
Yeah.
okay, who play sports very actively. And as you know, Eric, I have a son who plays basketball. I also have a son that plays tennis, right? Different demeanors, different temperament, different kids, okay? I don't believe ever in making a kid play a sport. I don't believe in that. I don't believe in making your child, because you know why, Eric? That kid is the person that has to go out there on the court and train and practice and do all of the extras. And if that kid doesn't want to do it, I think it's never the parent's right to make the child do it. It's not, right? If a kid doesn't want to go out there, because Eric, you gave varsity as an example, okay, E?
Yes.
You gave varsity as an example. To be a good varsity player, okay, it's not just about practicing with your team. You have to do a lot of extracurricular activity to make sure that you continue to grow and develop and get better. If a kid's heart is not doing that,
Yes.
Eric, they're never going to be able to then continue to progress and play at the level that you would expect, AAU Eric, right? And so I'm asking you, how you going to make the kid play for 3 more years? On one breath, you saying parents shouldn't be overbearing, but on another breath, you being overbearing.
Frank, the kids should play sports, man. There's so much that sports, gives, provides for young kids. You know what I'm saying? It provides leadership skills, all these different skills that sports provide. I'm an advocate of kids should be playing sports. That's just me, Frank.
Okay.
And I don't
So let me ask you this question. But let me let you finish. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I don't think that you should quit in the middle of things. You know what I'm saying? I don't think you should see things through. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna face some adversity, see things through. That's what I'm saying.
So E, so my question is this, in this dynamic, okay? You have a child, your child. One thing I'm an advocate of is kids playing sports. I do feel like kids should all play sports because we agree that there's certain lessons and things that you get from sports. But
Yes.
Eric, okay, but making a child play at a high level, like you said, if you're a varsity basketball player, you got to keep playing. That's wrong. If a kid says, well, I don't want to play at this level of intensity anymore, but they still play sports, they play and they become a participation sports player. They still might play on the team, but they're no longer at a dominant level. Okay, so they're still playing a sport, but they're not doing all of the extra stuff to become the best athlete in their sport. Is that acceptable to you?
That's cool. That's cool. I'm cool with that. But let me ask you this though, Frank.
Well, no, hold on. Before you ask me that,
Say
you're not cool with that because you just said your kid got to keep playing varsity for the 4 years.
I'm saying, but then let's say he decides not to play, but he's still playing in other leagues and stuff like that, I'm cool with that. I'm joking.
Okay,
But I'm cool
okay.
with
So
that.
he
But
can
let me
stop
ask you,
playing varsity and play participation. So, so what's the
yeah,
question for me? I'm listening.
if you have a son,
Well, I
and
do
we
got 3
see
sons, but okay.
your son is 7 feet tall.
Yeah.
Your son is 7 feet tall. What
Uh-huh.
are you gonna do? Like, what are you gonna do? If he decides, oh, Dad, I don't want to play basketball anymore. Like, are you just gonna let him just quit?
Well, it's not quitting. You keep on, don't use that word because that word has a negative connotation. But would I allow him to stop playing and pursue other interests? Unequivocally, yes. Just because your child is 7 foot tall doesn't mean that your child should be forced to play basketball. Okay, bruh, you are the biggest contradiction in the world. You started this conversation saying parents shouldn't get involved, parents should let, and now your 7 foot kid doesn't want to play basketball. Are you gonna let your 7 foot kid not play basketball, Eric?
No, he's playing basketball, Frank. No way. He's
Oh
playing
my
basketball.
goodness, AAU Eric. I mean, no more Dominican E. I'm gonna start calling you AAU E. I gotta
He's
change your
playing
name, bro.
basketball. Frank, he's playing basketball. There's no way in the world I'm gonna have a son walking around. He's 7 feet tall and he's not playing nothing. No way, Frank. No way. No, I can't do it. No way.
Well, let me ask you a question. What if he wants to play tennis?
He got to play something, Frank. He ain't just gonna be walking around 7 feet tall and not doing nothing. No sports involved. No way. No way, Frank.
No,
No
hold on. That's not the question. You said, would you make your 7 foot son play basketball? Is my question to you. Would you, Eric, make your 7 foot son play basketball?
Of course.
So what do you mean, of course?
He has to play, Frank. He has to play. He has to play.
Oh my goodness.
That's not normal,
Yo,
Frank.
bro.
That's not normal. Frank, where do you see what is he gonna do, Frank? What is he gonna
Live his
do?
life and be a good student and be a function and be a leader and be a great man and have a family and be a great leader.
As a 7-footer?
So after you get past 6'5", you can't do those things anymore. So I guess after you get past a certain height, all you can do is play. So once you're 7 foot tall, all you can do is play basketball.
Frank, what are you? He's 7 feet tall, Frank. What are you like? No, he has to try at least play the sport, Frank. You have to at least come on, Frank. No, he just can't just walk around.
Eric,
We're gonna do work at
I'm a
McDonald's.
proponent of that. Why you gotta make it McDonald's? Why can't he be a tech guy and create Facebook or create Apple? Why your son gotta work at McDonald's because he's 7 foot tall? Why can't he play a guitar?
That's Frank. You know that's awkward. That's awkward, Frank. Come on, come on, Frank. No way.
Nah, bro, you tripping, dog.
You gotta play basketball, Frank.
First of all, you tripping. Eric, so let me ask you a question.
You just walking around life just being tall,
Okay, so let me ask you a question. So if your son is 23 or 4 now, they play basketball and didn't make it, they still the same 7-footer going through life? So their identity should only be tied to basketball? Like, so they just supposed, so after, at 24, if they don't make it to the NBA, what should they jump off a bridge? I mean, they're gonna live the majority of their life and maybe 7 foot tall, and maybe 7 foot tall, Eric, maybe 7 foot tall, and not make it. They still got to find something to do.
They're gonna find something to do, but at least try to play the sport. That's what I'm saying.
But you keep on saying I know. No, I don't know. Why you keep saying I know?
Well, look,
you know me philosophically. I don't. By the way, I'll tell a small story here. What?
What's the first question they're gonna ask a kid? What's the first question they're gonna ask a kid that's 7 feet tall? Did you play basketball? That's the first thing they're gonna ask.
But they might not want to be identified by that.
But society's gonna label them as that, Frank. Did you play basketball?
So what? So society may label you something as a dark-skinned man. And it's me as a dark-skinned man. But we do what we do, how we do it. You can't say that's the reason why. So it's because society labels you a 7-footer, you a basketball player, you got to ascribe to that? What does society say about you as a dark-skinned Latino? Some people might see you walking down the street and have a whole bunch of, they might walk across the street. What that got to do with it? Right, so you can't, but you know, Eric, you know, I practice what I preach because my son was an avid tennis player, was very good, and decided he wanted to take a break. Very intense. And we took a year and a half off because he wanted to. And now he's playing again, but it was his choice. I can't be like, yo, nah, you nice, you got to keep going. He took a year off and then he found his love for the sport. Now he back. Nah, bro, you tripping, dog.
Yeah. Frank,
it's crazy how it's crazy, Eric, how we started the conversation and you were saying all the morally right things. AAU is this way, AAU is that way. The parents are overbearing. The parents need to take a step back, trust this, let the kids make their own choices and decisions. And then when we really get back down to it, Eric, you are right, an undercover, overbearing AAU dad. That's what you are.
No, no,
You are AAU dad, right, at heart. That's what you are, bro.
Frank. Listen,
Listen,
man.
listen.
Sports is in my blood, and I just can't see fan of me just sitting back and letting talent, a young man that has talent, just sit there and just go through the motions. I can't. I can't.
Okay,
I can't
well,
just sit back
I
and say,
guess.
"Oh, let my son figure it out." No, I'm not doing that, Frank. I'm not doing
Well,
that. No,
well, it's
I'm
not
not doing
about them
that, Frank.
figuring it out, right? But it's a dialogue, right? Where it shouldn't be a monologue, though. Right? It shouldn't be you dictating. It should be a dialogue as you talk through it with your child. Why you want them to play, why you don't want them to play, what are the pros and what do you like about it, the good lessons they learn, why you want them to play at a high level. So it should be a dialogue.
Let me ask you this. Let me ask you
Yes.
this. Every now and then we have kids like LeBron James who are prodigies, right? Who are
Yes.
phenomenal
Hmm.
athletes. You know, the Tiger Woods of the world, tennis players, young tennis players, the Serenas of the world, right? So as a parent, you see this talent in your hands, and you're not gonna try to develop that and try to get the best out of them. What about they decide to say, "Oh, LeBron decides at 13 years old, Mom, I don't want to play basketball no more," or Tiger Woods comes and says, "Dad, I don't want to play golf anymore." And you see the talent in your hands. Like you're not gonna try to challenge them and say, "Oh, we got to continue." Come on, Frank. Come on, Frank. Come
Okay.
on.
So
No
can I
way,
answer?
Frank. No
Are
way.
you asking me the question to answer it, or are you just speaking?
I'm not, I'm not,
Um,
there you can answer.
okay. So I know that was a rhetorical question, but let me answer it. So one,
Yes.
Tiger Woods, when his father made him pick up a club, didn't know that he would be as good as he was, right? Number one. And the same with Serena Williams' father, Richard Williams, when they picked up a racket. So when they gave them a racket and a golf club, they had no idea how good their kids would be ultimately, but they trained their kids and they continued to push. And then ultimately, when they realized at a very early age, probably that there was great potential, then they accelerated. They pressed the accelerator. And some people
Yes.
argue that some of the best kids in sports are so great because their parents did overbear, right? Which you're talking about the AAU parent, like Tiger Woods' father, who was overbearing. And Tiger Woods said it and the father said it. Or some people thought that Richard Williams was overbearing. And by the way, the problem with those examples, Eric, is those are the aberrations. Most kids with overbearing parents won't make it. And you'll have broken relationships, unhappy kids who are not adjusted properly to society. So when you bring up the small example, the aberrant examples of when it works, I mean that's cute, right? But there's a lot of people who put their tennis rackets in their kids' hands at a very young age who didn't become Serena and Venus, right? There are a lot of fathers who put a golf club in their son's hand at a very young age who didn't become Tiger Woods. And to be clear, the majority of the time that's going to happen. So you can't
Right.
bring up these small examples and make that the reality. You can't.
All right. Okay, Frank. This is gonna touch home with you. This is gonna touch home with you.
Okay.
Your son, I, and I told you this. He's phenomenal. I told you that I started at an early age. He's phenomenal. He's
Yeah. Hmm.
he's electrifying in every sport that
Hmm.
he plays.
Yep, he
So now
is
you
my
see that.
younger one.
You see that. You see that.
Yes, I do.
And you see that talent. You're not gonna try to cultivate that and challenge that and make that even greater, or you're just gonna say, "Oh, Hudson is your choice."
So let me answer that. So
Okay.
I think it's my responsibility to absolutely cultivate it and to push him, right?
Yes.
But it's also important to make it a dialogue again, where I'm I am figuring out ways to push him, but also make him feel like he's a part of the journey and he has a say so and he's enjoying the process. So there's a balance between being overbearing, okay, and making all the decisions and it being a monologue. That's different than allowing the kid to feel like they have some ownership in the process. So my 7-year-old kid who's elite in basketball and football feels like he's a part of his journey, right? And so hopefully by doing that, right, he will continue to want to play more and want to be great. And I'm also then instilling in him, to be the best the work ethic. You show them examples, right? But there's a way to do it, Eric, in a way that it's not so um, it's not so overbearing where it's like it's this way or that way, and the kids are unhappy and they don't want to do it, right? There's a way to do it, Eric. There's a way to do it. And by the way, let me just say this:
I hear you,
if
Frank.
LeBron James or Tiger Woods didn't want to do it at some point and they decided to do something else with their life, because at the end of the day, Eric, what it boils down to is their life, right? It ain't my life. My other son, my middle son that was playing tennis, if he decided he didn't want to play no more, that's his life, bro. He got to live with that. I'm enjoying my life. Life is good, baby.
Yeah,
Why
life
do
is
I
good,
want to?
Frank. I'm with you on
Nah,
that,
bro.
bro.
So I'm
Life,
living my life. So why would I want to make him live his life a certain way? You can't do that, bro.
because as a parent, you know best. You want the best for your son. You know best for your son. Kids, they can't see past. They can't see past tomorrow. They
But
can't see
Eric,
past
most but
tomorrow.
but Eric, most kids that you do that with won't make it though, Eric. So you
I'm
saying
all.
they can, it's best for them. Most of the time, the kid ain't gonna make it. Just so you know, Eric, 99% of the time the kid ain't gonna make it. So you're doing all of that craziness and the kid ain't gonna make it. 99.9%. You know the percentage of people that become professional athletes at a high level.
Yeah,
Of all the crazy parents, 99.999% of the time, the kid ain't gonna make it, bro.
yeah, the 1% of the 1%. I get it, Frank. I'm just
It,
saying, like,
yeah, that's the reality. So what you pushing for?
to be the best, man. Whatever you do in life, just be the best in life. The
So you
best.
take away your child's childhood to push them to do something that but there's a 0.001% chance that they're gonna make it at the highest level.
But I'm not.
They gotta want it, bro. And Eric, part of them being great, part of what makes great players great, they tell you, is they wanted it too.
Yeah,
It
I get
wasn't the
that.
parents overbearing. But by the way, this AAU conversation took a detour. And when we
Yes.
found out in our AAU conversation that Eric Martinez is
Oh my
a
goodness.
closet crazy AAU parent underneath. And when you have some kids, right? I gotta balance them out. When your dad go crazy, call Uncle Frank. Let me help you out, bro. Because Eric is sometimes your dad is crazy, bro. You a crazy AAU parent, dogs. And by the way, perfect segue, AAU Eric into nepotism, Deion Sanders, Shaduer Sanders, Shiloh Sanders as well to a degree, LeBron James, and Bronny James.
Yes.
Perfect segue, AAU Eric,
Yes.
right? So, multifaceted conversation, okay? And let me tell you on the levels, all right? Level one. Everybody talks about LeBron James' son, who doesn't deserve to be an NBA player. You and I both know it. Let's not put it on the table, right? In the LeBron example, okay?
Yes.
But let's stop. Let's stop with that. In the real world, Eric, nepotism works everywhere, right? How many people call friends at law firms or at corporations, or if somebody got a friend to work at ESPN in an executive position, to make call and say, "Hey, my son wants to be in sports. Can you help my son?" How many people make a call to their friend who's a head of an organization, a sports organization? "Hey, my son wants to get involved in sports. Can you get him a job for the franchise?" Right?
Yes.
I mean, this happens all the time, Eric, right? Where
Yes.
people use their relationships. How many people have relationships at schools and they have a person that can call a headmaster for a private school and get their son right into that school?
Yes.
That's the
Fact.
real world that we live in. How many
Yes.
people, Donald Trump, right? Example, his father donates money to schools, or I think Trump's daughter's husband, Jared Kushner, his father bought a building at Harvard, and then of course they get to go to Harvard, right? This is the world we live in. So when LeBron James picks up a phone and says, "Adam Silver, my biggest wish is for my son Bronny James to get to the NBA. All that I've done for the NBA, my son, I want to be in the NBA." How is he any different in that dynamic? And I get it, he don't deserve to be there, but how is that any different than in every other corner of the world where this happens?
Yeah. I mean, you said, it happens all over the world, right? We all know people that can plug you in somewhere. So I don't blame LeBron James for that. You know what I'm saying? If he could go to Adam Silver and say, listen, I want my son to make it to the NBA, and if Adam Silver has the power to do that, then I'm not disagreeing with that. You know what I mean? Even though he doesn't deserve to be there, it's taken away from somebody else that maybe has is deserving of that spot. But LeBron James, he can throw
So
his
is that morally wrong then, Eric? Because you said somebody else deserved the spot.
morally wrong. That's a tough one. I mean, we live in a society, like you said, we all have people that we know, somebody we know, and people always have, an opportunity for somebody else that they might know. So, I mean, is it morally wrong? I'm not.
It has to be morally wrong, right? Because just because it happens doesn't mean it's right? So there are things that happen that are not morally correct. It's morally wrong, but just the real world that we live in. It's
Yeah.
morally wrong, Eric, because realistically speaking, right? I give you an example. A kid can work very, very hard, go to school, do all the right things, right? And be better served for a job or position somewhere. Okay. And this kid over here has not worked hard and done very much, but his mother or father can make a phone call and get this person the opportunity over the person that's worked really hard and probably deserves it. That's probably morally wrong.
Yes. Okay.
But we don't live in a world where we always make morally right choices. Right?
That's right.
And in the real world, the way it goes is, right, everybody's trying to do the best for their families and for themselves.
That's right. That's absolutely
And
right.
LeBron James, now, again, in my opinion, well, not in my opinion, it's a fact, right? Bronny James is not an NBA player, right? If his name is John Smith, he's not even on the NBA radar. He's not,
Yes.
right? I watched him play in high school. I don't even know if he scored 1,000 points in high school, right? Watched him play in high school, and Sierra King's a good team, but I think it's the most he averages about 14 a game, right? And there's been guys that went to Sierra Canyon average 20 points a game or whatever, right? And then in college, I mean, he was horrible at USC. And by the way, I always say this, looks like a good kid. He also had a severe heart issue, which we have to, again, your prayers is with him and his family because you always hope the kid can get
Yeah.
back to full health, which it looks like he is. So you always wish the best from that perspective.
Yes.
But he ain't a pro. He's not an NBA player. He ain't. He's not right?
I mean,
But this is how the world works. Nepotism is nepotism, right? People help their family members, their kids all the time. And LeBron is doing the same thing with his kid. And for all that he's done for the NBA, what is Adam Silver going to say? No. So what Adam Silver is going to do is pick up the phone and make sure his son is getting drafted.
yes.
Done. Right?
That's a fact. That's
Right?
a fact.
Now,
Okay.
Deion, Shaduer, different dynamic. Shaduer, better player. You think he's a top pick. I think he's a good player. I think he's probably an NFL player. I think he's a little overhyped right now. The other thing is an NFL
He said probably
quarterback. But now,
NFL quarterback, Frank.
huh?
I say definitely an NFL quarterback. You said probably.
Yeah, I agree on that. Now, is he a star in the NFL is a different conversation. Is he a number one pick in the NFL? Different conversation, right?
He's definitely.
But Deion goes about it different. So first of all, E, give me your thoughts about Shadour because I want to give you the floor to talk. I know you love Shadour and Deion. So tell me how much you love Shadour and how he's the best thing since sliced bread before we get into this. Go ahead, talk. Let you talk.
Listen, I think Shadour is going to be a phenomenal quarterback in the NFL. I think he has to polish some things. Has to polish some things. His pocket presence. You know what I mean? Being able to step in the pocket and make the throws. He can make all the throws. He can make all the NFL throws. Right now, he has to understand, how to move around, when to run, when to use his legs, and I think he'll get that eventually. But once he gets into the hands of NFL coaching, that's number one. Number two, he has every quality to be a star. Frank, he has it. He has the persona. He has the swagger. He has the Shadour. He has all of that. So I mean, he has the potential to be a mega star. And as we know, Frank, football, basketball, it's about entertainment. And if he's able to put people in the stands and sell tickets, he has that quality. And that's why I believe he's going to be a megastar in the NFL.
Okay.
That's my take on Shadour.
Okay, you're taking Shadour. I think he's a good player. I don't think he's done it enough, right? Like, Jackson State, he was a good player at Jackson State. Then let me ask you this question, E, and just give me one answer. What was Colorado's record last year?
What they won? 4 games?
Were they 3-8 or 4-8?
4-8. 4-8. 4-8.
4-8. Right, 4-8. Okay. Eric, he's 4-8. Okay, so let's not listen. Everybody's talking about he's the greatest thing since sliced bread. Okay, he's 4-8 at the highest level. And that's number one. So now this dovetails nicely into the Deion Sanders conversation, right? Which was there was a big argument online. Somebody online said, Deion needs to get his house in order, and Shaduer needs to stop bragging and doing all this stuff and do better than 4-8, right? Which is a fact, right? Ultimately, the goal is to win the game, as Herman Edwards told us.
Yes.
You play to win the games. 4-8 is atrocious, okay? Yes. And Deion then clapped back on Instagram or Twitter, it was, at this random anonymous person saying, but he's going to be a top 5 pick in the draft. So first of all, as a coach, you should be locked into winning games. So being 4-8 is terrible. And then countering the comment and answering it with he's going to be a top 5 pick in the draft is horrible on all levels. First of all, you're Deion Sanders, you're a Hall of Fame player, right? A below average coach, a mediocre coach, in my opinion, right? Still growing his story. Why are you clapping back at a random person online, number one? And your clap back about you going 4-8 is your kid is going to be a top 5 pick? How selfish is that? How does that bode into the team? This is when, right, you being a parent, right, is wrong because you're answering as a parent to this person and not answering as a coach of the Colorado Buffaloes. Fair enough?
Fair enough, Frank. I give you that. When you put it that way, Frank, I'll give it to you on that one. We had a conversation before. Now, you didn't put it this way. You didn't put it this way, Frank. You said other things, but that's okay. I'm listening. Go ahead.
But I got to get more eloquent when I'm talking to the people out there, baby. You know what I'm saying? I got to get more eloquent when I'm talking to the people out there.
Yeah, okay. I'm
A-N-U-E? All right. So then there was a second incident as well where a former player was saying how Deion was he dismissed the older players that were already at Colorado, the incumbent players. He mistreated them. He never gave them a fair chance. And then Shaduer came out and said this player was a mid player at best. And then Shaduer and the kid are going back and forth, which Shaduer shouldn't be doing that either. The kid is playing at Austin P right now. But Shaduer was defending his dad. Cool. Kids are Twitter war between 2 players, 2 kids. I get it. Kids are kids, right? Deion jumps into that mix. Deion jumps into that mix and puts the kids' stats up and then says, Lord have mercy. Why would you, Deion, jump in the mix between 2 kids, bro? And then you are disparaging a young man at another university who no longer plays for you, who's not going to be a pro and shouldn't even be on your radar. Why are you focused on jumping into that conversation? Please explain to me, how as a Hall of Fame player and a guy that's trying to be a great coach, right, and win games at Colorado, how is he in the right for getting involved in a spat, okay, between him and his son, okay, and even arguing with a former player, okay, who's at Austin P right now, and dissing him as an adult, and dissing a kid as an adult,
Deion, you my guy, Deion. I love me some Deion. Deion, you my guy.
Yes, you do.
Deion's my guy. But on this one, Deion, let the kids deal with the kids stuff. You know what I'm saying? You as head coach of Colorado,
there you go.
Handle your team in the way you think is appropriate for your team and team success. Let them kids handle it. If they're going back and forth on Twitter, that's what kids do nowadays. They got Twitter fingers or whatever they want to call it. X, I don't know what they call it nowadays. But let them handle it, and you stay out of it. I get it. That's his son. In a way, listen, Deion stay out of it, but I understand Deion's mentality. Deion is saying, that's my son. You attacking my son. I'm going to have to clap back. That's Deion mentality. Deion is the ultra ego guy. He wants to, put his spin on everything. So Deion, stay out of it. Let the kids handle that, and we move on from there. Now,
great. I'm sorry. Let me let you finish.
What Shaduer said, the kid is a mid player. Look where he ended up at, Austin P. He's facts. There ain't nothing wrong with
but I don't have a problem with Shaduer and the kid going back and forth. That's what kids do.
Okay.
But if I'm Shaduer, I'm so focused on trying to be the number one pick in the draft. I'm not really worried about the guy Austin P saying whatever he said. But I get it, E. But kids are petty and kids are gonna be kids, right?
Yeah.
But now, E. Now I'm gonna throw a little monkey wrench into this, right? Deion's argument, E, would be probably, I'm not getting involved in it because of the Shaduer situation. Deion's argument would say, I'm getting involved in it because this guy's assassinating my character. He's saying that when I got here, I didn't try to help the kids that were the incumbents who were already here. The guy said I didn't pay attention to the older players, which we know he didn't. But the kid Deion may say he's attacking my character, right? E, even if he does, Eric, at some point you have to be above reproach and not stoop to that level, right? As an adult, as the leader of men, as the leader of a university, as probably the most popular figure in the state of Colorado, okay? And especially at the University of Colorado. Fair enough?
Yeah, fair
You
enough.
can't be arguing, Eric, with a little with a young college kid. You can't, Eric.
That's Deion Sanders. That's bad work. That's bad work, Deion Sanders. That's bad work.
Come on, E. That's nasty work, E. That's nasty work. And that's your boy, E.
That's my man. But that's nasty work.
That's
Deion.
your boy, E.
Let the kids handle that, Deion. You be the adult and you get ready, to start your season and have a
there you go.
Season, Deion. Come on, let's focus on football, Deion.
So, E, I'm gonna end with this. 2 questions about Colorado. Okay. What round Shaduer first round pick? We agree on that.
Yes.
Unless they go 4-8 again this year, which they might. But Shaduer should be a first round pick, right? Shiloh, what round? The other son, the safety.
Shiloh. He's a third
round pick.
Third round.
Okay. Third round pick. Okay.
Shiloh, third round
and
pick.
now
Travis Hunter, obviously first round.
Yeah, Travis Hunter's first round. So E, let's end at this. With the Colorado Buffaloes, what's their record you predicting this year?
Oh man. Oh. Let's hold off on that, Frank. Let's hold off on that, Frank.
Oh, smart guy, because last time you predicted a record, you were wrong and you tried to deny it, and I pulled up the receipts on the Texas, and I got you on that. So I'm glad you're a smart man this time. You said you punted on it today, huh, E?
I don't want to put that on tape right now. Not on tape right now.
Oh, okay. You don't believe in I get it. You don't believe in your Buffaloes. I get it. You don't believe in your boy Deion. I get it.
Yeah.
Bowl game this year?
Bowl game? Yes.
Well, when I say bowl game, though, not the two toes bowl. We're talking about a real bowl, right? Not the Funyun bowl, right? We talking about the championship series games. There's 12 teams that get selected to that. We're not talking about one of those oblivious bowls in Montana somewhere. But shout out to Montana. I'm not dissing Montana. Are they gonna get into one of the top 12 slots? The 12 slots for the national championship.
We're gonna have to hold on. We got to hold on that, Frank. We're gonna have to know. But I know this.
Man.
Miami will have a spot on that. I know that.
We're not talking Miami though. Hold on. No, we're not talking Miami. We're talking about Deion. Your boy.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll hold off. So listen, E.
We got to hold on. Yes.
Yeah, the Hurricanes are going to be good this year. Miami be good. So listen, E. So listen, it's always great having you on, E. Great conversation, right? Provocative talk about the AAU, about Tom Thibodeau and the Knicks, and about nepotism, parents and fathers coaching their kids or being involved in their kids' sports, right? With Lebron and Deion.
Yes.
E, as you know, we are at this part of the show where you give your shout outs, as you always do. You shout out to your Dominican brothers and sisters out here doing good things in the world. The floor is yours, E. Who you shouting out today?
I'm going Vladimir Guerrero Jr. I mean, and I'm
Woo,
going off of his dad's reputation. I mean, his dad, I was in the Dominican Republic last summer, and he still continues to live in the same neighborhood he grew up in. He does so much for his people out there. And you would think this guy, if you walk past, you would think like he never played baseball in his entire life. This guy does so much for the community. And I think his son is in them same realms as him, as just a humble, great young man. playing phenomenal baseball. So I mean, Vladimir Guerrero and his son, I got to give it to him. Those guys are de lo mío. You know what I'm saying? So Vladimir Guerrero Jr., that's my guy.
De lo mío, of me, like me. Okay, I speak a little Spanish now. Come on now, E. But listen, right, Guerrero was great, right? Playing in Toronto, right, for the Jays. Great
Yes.
player, father's Hall of Famer, obviously. So yeah, great baseball lineage.
Yes.
All right, E. Well, listen, man, always a pleasure. We'll do it again
Always.
soon. We out, baby. We out. Roll with it or get ran over. The Frank Harris Show. We appreciate you, E.
No problem. I'm gonna change my name to AAUE.
Yeah, AAUE. All right, dogs.
All right,
All right.
Frank. Oh man.